Hi, it's Dan, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to make cornbread using the Sauna Smart Bread Maker. Now, cornbread's a traditional American food. It actually goes way back before any European settlers. It's been eaten for thousands of years by the Native Americans, the indigenous people there, who ground corn into cornmeal. Cornmeal's evolved over the years. In the past, it was pure cornmeal. Now we add flour to it to make it lighter. And it's a great complement to a hearty soup like a lentil soup, a bean soup, pea soup. It's also great, almost indispensable with chili. It works really well with that. And it's best served hot. It's best if you can get a recipe that's real moist, because there's nothing worse than dry cornbread. And sometimes you get that. You can find these mixes in the shops that are just a box, add some milk and water. Those aren't so good. This one's a little different. And it's also served with honey butter, which is great. If you have it hot, spread some honey butter on that. It's a great combination for breakfast, lunch, really any time of day. So I want to show you the ingredients that I'm going to use here to make cornbread. Starting out with the cornmeal. I've got a cup of cornmeal here, maybe a little more. Sometimes I'll add a bit more just to fit the capacity of the Smart Bread Maker. The exact same amount, in this case, just over a cup of flour. You can use white flour, you can use whole wheat flour, that's what I have here. You could even use buckwheat if you want gluten-free, because you're gluten-free with the cornmeal. Besides that, you've got your rising agents. I've got about a teaspoon here of baking soda, a teaspoon and a half of baking powder. And I also have a bowl of corn, fresh corn. You could use frozen, I prefer fresh. And that's optional. Sometimes I make it without, but my kids have told me several times they really prefer to have the little bits of corn in there. Besides that, I've got some honey. It's not a sweet bread, but you want some sweetness in there. So you put the amount of honey in really to taste. Maybe 2 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons if you want something a little sweeter. Beyond that, you have the liquid ingredients. Now, most cornbread recipes call for egg. I don't like the texture you get from the egg. It's more like a thick cake, and it tends to dry it out, I think. Alternative is to use buttermilk, or in this case, if you don't have buttermilk, you make a similar thing using milk mixed with some vinegar, and that will coagulate with the milk proteins. And a little bit of oil will go in there, as well as some salt. So I'm going to go ahead and start. First thing I want to do is mix the milk with the vinegar. I'm going to use a cup and a half of milk. I've also made it with soy milk and almond milk if you're going for a vegan take. So it was a cup and a half of milk, about a tablespoon and a half of vinegar. Stir that all around. Let that sit for just a couple of minutes, because that will coagulate into something thicker. And I'm also going to put in 2 teaspoons of oil. I'll go ahead and put that in to the milk here. It's a really simple recipe. You're just combining the dry ingredients with the wet ingredients. Let's do that. Cornmeal, wheat flour, baking soda, baking powder. Just under a teaspoon of salt. Depends how salty you like your cornbread. Whisk this all around. So just mix the dry ingredients together real well. I'll put the corn in the very last. Now, normally I would let this sit for about 5 minutes, but it'll still react once I mix it in. So I'll go ahead and stir it on in. Still need to add the corn and the honey. Like I said before, about maybe 3 tablespoons. A little less if you like it less sweet, more if you like it sweeter. And the corn can go in. Corn's going to add some moisture as well. You want to get the kernels mixed all throughout the batter. And that's ready to go. What I want to do now is prepare the baking pan. I like to spread a little butter. I use a paper towel. It's a lot cleaner that way. Just get a nice sized chunk of butter. Spread it all around, about halfway up. The cornbread, it's not yeast-based, so it's not going to rise so much. There's also the small rods at the bottom of the pan that connect to the kneading paddles or the mixing paddles. I don't use the mixing paddles. I have used them in the past, and you can. You can actually pour all the ingredients in here and use the bread maker with a setting of about 5 minutes of kneading at speed 3. And it does a pretty good job of mixing, but I like to do it on my own here. And it's ready to go. I'm going to put it in here. Make sure to spread it around so it's nice and flat. So that's ready to be cooked. The batter's in there. It's buttered. Here. Just got to line it up right. One reason I like using the Sana Smart Bread Maker is these glass lids. So like I said, a good cornbread needs to stay moist. And this is the best way I've found to have a moist cornbread. Because as it cooks, the water bubbles out, the steam comes out. And a lot of times it will be dry. In this case, it stays inside. It keeps the moisture in there. It's ready to go. I just need to program it. So what I need to do is choose the bake setting. That's number 4 here. You see them all listed on the front of the bread maker. So I'll use the recipe book here to go to number 4. Then I want to program it with a function key. It will say the bake setting, this is the minutes. I set this one for about 33 minutes. Standard recipe is more like 40 minutes, but it'll be a lot faster with those glass lids. Hit the function key again. It will default to 180 degrees. I want 170. And function key again. Press this on/off to program it in. It's ready to go. And I will just hold it down to start it. It's started. It's baking. Should take about 33 minutes. I'll come back, check on the progress when it's done. And hopefully there'll be some nice cornbread in about half an hour. The bread's done. I've let it cool for quite a while, so I can grab it with my hands. Don't do this if it's just been in there 5 or 10 minutes. Give it plenty of time to cool. Yeah. Let me cut it so you can see the detail in there. You can see the kernels of corn there. Yeah, it's a nice, dense loaf. Like I said before, this works great with honey butter, with chili, with beans, a hearty soup. Perfect, especially when this is warm. And you can reheat it too. Thanks for watching our video. If you'd like more information, come to our website at smartbreadmaker.com. See you next time.